Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are back with a brand new review for the Real Housewives of Potomac season 6 episode 3. If you are new here, then welcome. If you are back for a second or third review, then welcome back. Please do not hesitate to hit that like button, subscribe if you get anything out of the content, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you will be updated each and every time I upload a video. Child, I'll be here all season. Let's get into it if we gonna get into it. So when the episode first opens up, we're at Robin's house and the alarm is going off, but Robin is not waking up with the roosters, okay? Honey, still asleep. So she hits the snooze and Juan is yelling, "Robin, all the boys up." So then she hops up and rolls her son out of the bed, right? Sits him in front of the computer and says, "Okay, have a good day at school." And back to bed she goes, right? Juan comes in and he's like, "Did you wake Carter up?" She said, "Yeah, 3 more minutes until my alarm goes off." He said, "Okay. His class starts at 9:10 and you're waking him up at 9:07. She said, "Yes. And my question is this. While you're asking all these questions, you could have woken him up. Are you busy? Honey, clearly you got enough time to yell across the house. Then you should have enough time to wake him up. It is not her sole responsibility to get them ready for the day." He's like, "You need to do something with yourself." She's like, "It's the pandemic." She said, "Everything is out of whack and I didn't expect for it to last this long." And this is my thing. I'm not going to act like I didn't do the same thing sometimes, honey, if we're being real, okay? Because there were some days where I was just like, you know what? With all the anxiety of the unknown, my child doing virtual learning, I'm trying to work, make a living, all of this while being cooped up in this house. Child, I be sleeping too. But the difference is, Juan, you can help, child. And then he told her, "You're full of excuses." He's like, "I'm tired of it. You need to be better." Juan, okay, this is not the locker room. These are not one of your players. She's suffering from something. Child, Juan has no compassion. She definitely going through something. She said, "I wasn't expecting the pandemic to still be going on. School, lunches, dinner, basketball practices. It's nonstop and she's burnt out and doesn't know how to change it, right?" Well, at least she recognizes it. Okay, now that the season has started, maybe it will help, because right now Juan is acting like you're just lazy. And it's really ticking me off that he's not paying attention to you potentially having something going on that's deeper. I don't want to put mental issues on a person. I don't want to talk about their mental health because I'm not well versed in that, and that's not my place. But I will say that all the signs point to her suffering from something and not feeling her best self, honey. And COVID was, even if you didn't get sick with COVID, it definitely affected everyone's life in a different way. Honey, I'm not feeling it, y'all. I'm like, boy, if you don't shut up. The thing that got me is when Carter's teacher told him that his mom needs to wake him up and make sure, because school is his job. And I'm thinking, first of all, lady, now I know exactly what you're trying to say, make sure that, because, most times people don't really think dad. Okay, now that's bad. But when people speak, most of the time they always bring up the mom. So I understand that she was trying to tell him, hey, make sure that your parent gets you up on time because you have to be at school. But honey, he got a daddy and daddy ain't doing nothing. Okay, moving forward. Over at Karen and Ray's house, honey, they're at home showing us they love each other, and she's doing a Zoom call for her wigs, and then she tells them that she made a glueless installation and they're called Kim and Queen. Honey, the names ain't naming, but go off, sis. She said, you can go from the boardroom to the bedroom. All I could think of when Karen was talking is when her wig slid back at that barbecue that Candace threw. Child, I'm not gonna never let Karen live that down. Listen to me. I like the ladies, but at the same time, I'm gonna have to give it to you, child. And when she said that she created a glueless install, child, I was like, Karen, honey, I don't think you should be the one, but okay. She's like, "Tell him, Ray, what you think about it." He's like, "I like Queen. I might have to get into more Zooms." Ill. Okay, Ray, keep it in your pants, honey. The Zoom is work related. It's not an OnlyFans. In the next scene, Gizelle goes to meet Ashley and her baby bump, and then Ashley shows up and Gizelle asks, what she's going to do when the baby comes. So then Ashley says, well, I have a nanny now, so it's going to be a lot different than when I just had Dean. And so Gizelle is like, well, Michael makes me nervous. Gizelle, why are you always concerned about somebody else's man, girl? Michael ain't been seen all season. Leave that man where he is, honey. And why make her relive that? Like, this is a time where she needs to be, calm, not thinking of anything that could potentially trigger any anxiety. Child, leave this lady alone, honey. Yes, Michael is sketch, but girl, stop, okay? Is Jamal coming? Oh, I ain't think so. Child, leave that woman alone. I do not like that. I don't like the fact that you would bring up Michael to stir up some mess. Like, girl. She was like, well, when Dean came, we had the whole MGM thing. I mean, are you concerned at all? And Ashley's like, you know what? I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, honey. She going to stick beside him. So I don't know why y'all keep talking to her about Michael, because she ain't leaving, child. Okay? So then she said, Gizelle said, when I was pregnant with my second pregnancy, I just felt real lonely. I felt like everybody was all about the twins, and it kind of made me sad. So to keep you from feeling like this, whether you're feeling it or not, I want to throw you a pamper party. So then they started talking about Karen's party, right? So Ashley said, yeah, I met Mia and G. So Jazelle was like, oh, what do you think of them? She was like, I thought they were cool. I mean, I thought it was a good time. But, we talked about Mia and her clit repair. And then she said that you were a pretty face. And she was like, what? She said, yeah, once she realized that you wished death on Ray, then she said that you were just a pretty face. She said, that's interesting, because she been texting me and Robin. She's like, do I have a beautiful soul? Well, honey, we took a vote and the answer's no. The people are saying the answer is a no. Word on the street is Jazelle does not have a beautiful soul, honey. That's what they're saying. She said, or am I just a pretty face? Now, you are a pretty lady, honey. She was like, or are you a flip-flopper? Well, now listen. You can like somebody and then tell them when they're wrong and when they're right, okay? And Mia is giving very much Cynthia Bailey realness, okay? She's giving a little bit of a flip-flopper, honey. I'm side-eyeing you. Robin is at her mom's warehouse and she's still selling these hats. And I'm like, oh, child, they still around? Child, proved me wrong. She's telling a scholar who's like one of her friends. She's like, yeah, if you keep doing good work, I may gift you with a hat. Girl, see, I would have cussed out and walked out right then. Because you're not about to play with me with these satin-lined hats. Girl, goodbye, honey. I'm not about to play with Robin. So then Wendy shows up in her sweatsuit and heels and her new body. So she's telling a scholar who's her friend who we're introduced to in this episode, who I really, really like, okay? I love a little bit of class and a little bit of sass, okay? So she's telling her that she's going to have a pamper party for Ashley. So Robin is telling them that she had people come in and package orders, and she had like 350 orders, and she's outgrown the space and all of this. And she's like, yeah, my business is growing, and I've even added clothes. Honey, I wish I would let Robin dress me. Child, I wish I would purchase something from Robin. If you're not putting together one of those little outfits like Fabletics or something that could just be easy and match and we could just wear it to the gym, other than that, I am not going to say that I'm styled by Robin. You will not have the girls sitting in the reunion and Andy asking, are you wearing Robin? No, honey. We're going to stick to She by Sheree and whoever else the other one is, summer, spring, September, fall. But honey, I definitely would not let Robin put me in no clothes. Okay. I'm just saying. She's like, I'm really nervous because business is booming and I don't want problems with Uncle Sam, basically. Girl, you need to hire an accountant. Honey, and I guess that can be an Aaron hat, I guess. I guess that's why it's blowing up, because, COVID, and you really didn't want to do too much zhuzh to your hair, so you just put this satin line hat on. But, honey, show me the receipts, honey, because I ain't buying it, okay? Like, I am not buying it. So Wendy tells Robin about her wanting to start a home essential line, right? And Robin is like, well, what happened to the professor and the commentator thing? Those things don't really go together. She can do more than one thing, Robin. Honey, you sound like a little hater this season. First you hated on Giselle's Etch-a-Sketch home, and now you're over here hating on Wendy because she want to put a candle out or whatever. Honey, turn off the lights. Turn them off. Light a candle. Do what you gonna do, Wendy. Baby, because Robin does not want you to have more than one venture. Girl, who does one thing, honey? That's why you are always in trouble and financially strapped. You put your mind in a box and you do not think outside of that. Girl, goodbye. She ain't say nothing about these little hats, girl. She even posed for pictures. But I ain't really been feeling her and her hats since she ex Karen out of the photos. And child, I ain't been a fan since. So Wendy is like, you weren't at Karen's event, but I was wondering where you were. She said, well, Juan wasn't really interested in going. But what happened? Wendy said, it was interesting. Mia was there. Then they cut to Mia, honey, because the producers gonna put together a show if they don't do nothing else. So then they cut to Mia at home with G, and they're going through plans for their storefront. So she pokes a little fun at him because he got his grandfather time glasses on, and then she gets a text from Gizelle inviting her to the pamper party, right? Mia's like, you know what happened at Karen's house, right? He's like, nah, I was in the kitchen with the guys. Back over here with Wendy, she's telling Robin that Mia said Jazelle was just a pretty face, right? She's talking with her hands, and I said, don't put your hands in my face. And she's like, oh, Wendy would have popped off. Girl, you ain't with the okay? You ain't about that life. You ain't gonna bust a grape. Girl, goodbye. She's like, but the new Wendy is Zen Win. Girl, not you trying to match your personality to these candles, honey. And Wendy, stop calling yourself Zen Win, okay? Child, it's really getting on my nerves, and it doesn't make any sense. Just because you say it doesn't make it so. Stop trying to make fetch happen with Zen Win, honey. You've been given very much passive aggressive when it comes to Mia, honey. The name didn't work for Jen on Basketball Wives, and it ain't gonna work for you. Back over here with Mia, G said, I liked Eddie. And so Mia's over here telling G, she was like, well, Eddie acts like he's scared of her, honey, and is. He wasn't about to get a tongue lashing when he got home, child. And I knew something wasn't right with their relationship when we were first introduced to them. And he said that his family didn't approve. Honey, she probably pulled out them degrees on him. As well as making them feel less than, okay? So then they show Ashley, and they show her asking the question about who would your spouse be attracted to, right? So Mia is like, Wendy said my husband doesn't think anyone is cute. She said he couldn't even look at me in my eyes. Girl, why you want somebody's husband to be interested in you? Mia and Wendy are giving me very much Kenya versus Phaedra 2.0. All I hear is Apollo is kind of fine. Shout out to Kenya Moore. Honey, I'm just trying to figure out, why do you want her husband to look at you? Honey, I'm so confused by that. Back over with Robin, she's telling a scholar, she's like, yeah, you know, Karen drinks a lot. Why is that something you would tell someone that has never met Karen? Okay, now let me tell you something. Now, I know we have team these people and team that people, honey. I'm just reporting the news, okay? I'm giving you the news you can use. But what I will say is this. When Karen was in the car on the way to meet the ladies at Wendy's house for the big boob reveal, she did not give any inkling that she had a problem with the ladies. She didn't tell Mia, like, she wasn't doing her like that. She didn't say, you know, Robin sleeps all day and Juan don't really want to marry her, and he gave her a ring from the pawn shop. She didn't say that. She said, I want you to get to know all the ladies. Here go Robin. Well, you know, Karen drinks a lot. Like, and that's why she always eats y'all up. Like, gosh. She's like, you know, when Karen was attacking Jazelle, I tried to tell Karen to check herself, and you tried to check me. Well, Robin, it was not your place to jump in. Jazelle sat down and started with Karen, and she finished it. And she finished you. Finish him. Honey, all I could hear was Mortal Kombat. I'm just saying. So Wendy said, you know, it was at my house, and I didn't want anyone else to feel ganged up on. And Robin said, the Wendy I knew, this is what she said in the confessional. She said, the Wendy I knew a few years ago would have had Giselle's back, but now she has Karen's back. These are all grown women, okay? Alliances change. You should know the dynamic of a reality show by now. Robin, come on, honey. Keep up. How many years did you sleep? Child, I'm not going to be bothered with you. Over at Candace's house, she's saying having the kids shows her she may not be a sucky mom. Well, honey, let me tell you something. This is an illusion, honey. Kids are hard work, and these kids are self-sufficient, so it's a little bit easier. But when they're little and you got to wake up every 5 minutes, they're crying, they can't verbalize what's hurting them, and you have to figure it out on your own. Are they wet? Are they dry? Do they need to eat? Child, it's a lot of work, okay? So I know this looks all nice and y'all are playing house and whatnot, but it's definitely not as easy as it seems. When they're little, it's work. You definitely will be pulling out that little triangle handkerchief more than a few times. I'm just saying. So Chris is in there trying to get his bar together, and he has all these empty bottles. I'm like, child, somebody throwing them back. And Candace said, if my mom saw this, she would say, Candace, you guys are drinking too much. Well, Chris said, look, I'm grown, and I'm going to drink if I want to drink. And honey, he ain't doing nothing else. Charlie ain't working. So then Dottie calls all dressed up for the cameras, and Candace is telling her mom she wants to have a talk with Karen, right? She's like, I want to know how she could defend Monique's bullshit. And I'm like, oh my God, are we still talking about this? Was like 2 years ago, wasn't it? Because if I remember correctly, it was before I decided that I wanted to voice my opinion on these YouTube streets. So, I mean, we're going into yet another season with the foolishness. Like, girl, please let it go, honey. I understand that you were accosted. I get it. But we're going to have to let it go. We're going to have to let's delve more into this storyline of you acting. Honey, it's no rehearsals that needs to be attended to or any of that. Like, it's ridiculous. So then she tells her about Chris being her manager, right? Mama said, good luck. She said, why are you saying it like that? Why are you being passive aggressive? She said, look, when you let your husband manage your money, they quit their job and they make it their sole income. Candace, honey, you better listen. Chris seemed real relaxed this season. Baby, real relaxed. I don't think it's wise to let him manage you. I just don't think it, honey, because you know what? It could cause marital problems, and then you'll be in there with that handkerchief all season, talking about how y'all went to therapy, and now y'all are getting a divorce. Child, please, just let it go. Of course, Candace don't like nobody telling her nothing, and she's like, I don't appreciate you suggesting Chris has some kind of ulterior motive. So then Dottie is pulling the Mama Joyce, and she's like, watch your coins, Candace. Honey, you better call Candy. Ask her how it go, child, because her and Todd are building something together. Now, if you and Chris are going into a venture together, that's something different. But to have him as your manager, I mean, Mama knows best. Moving forward. So her mom is like, okay, it's your life. Yeah, honey, let her learn the hard way. As my mom says, a hard head makes a soft behind, honey. And when everything falls apart, that'll learn her. Over on the other side, Wendy stops by Karen's house to get business advice. I was like, what is happening? Now listen to me. The Grand Dame has got La Dame and all these other things going. But at the same time, I probably would have called Candy, honey. I mean, don't all you housewives know each other, honey? I would have called up Candy on the Candy Coded hotline and been like, hey, I need to speak on it about this business venture. Because, honey, I love Karen, but I don't see the Potomac women as business women. I just don't, honey. I really just don't. She said, you know, we put our issues to the side, and I have respect for her for starting a business. Okay, Wendy. Okay, because you know in the reunion, you said you didn't need mentorship. That's why you and Karen were not getting along. But then you go over for mentorship. Oh, okay, honey. I just want to keep up, child. I just want to keep up. So Wendy says she wants to be the Black Martha Stewart. So Karen starts asking questions, honey. She said, do you have a partner? She said, Eddie. Translation. Basically, Eddie is the investor. Do you have a business plan? I wrote out one paragraph. Girl, with all these degrees, you don't know a business plan requires more than one paragraph? Child, what? Where you get the degrees from? Walmart? Girl, I'm not about to play with you. Well, honey, they sell everything else, child. It was probably on aisle 3. She asked, whatever your budget is, you need to double it. And do you have a product? So then she pulls out her candle. I'm like, okay, nice packaging. And the candle is called Anye. I was like, okay, that's a pretty name. Karen was a little bit impressed, but then she said, so who's your market? Now, this is where she stumped me, because I was thinking, doesn't everybody love a good candle? Honey, I know I do. But I guess it would depend on the price point. How much will these be for a profit to be made is what you really need to be worried about, which is why you need a business plan, and a solid one at that. And you need an elevator pitch, honey. So then Karen asked the tough question. She said, so what will make them pick up your candle and no one else's? Well, honey, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because once Bath and Body Works has that 3-week candle sale, honey, it's hell. I don't know if the people just really gonna be buying. I'm just saying, honey. So then she's like, don't say that. That's my fear. And you know what, Wendy? I just want to speak directly to you, honey. Please do not live in fear. Let me tell you something. People told me this idea was stupid. They said, well, why would somebody want to sit up and listen to an avatar talk? First of all, I'm a custom-made image, okay, in my likeness, sitting on the couch with my doggy Minx, and we're speaking to the people. We're speaking our speech, honey, so it's totally different. But everybody tried to deter me. And I was a little bit fearful, but I stepped out on faith, and now I have my lovely subscribers here to listen to my foolishness each and every week when I zhuzh up these reviews, okay? So please do not let people deter you from what you want to do. Now, I know it's scary, but just get on out there, honey. You'll be all right. She's like, I don't know if I can handle it. I'm already struggling with the budget, and then I have to double it. This is what she's saying in her confessional. Girl, listen to me. You should have waited on them boobs, honey. That's 5 to 10K right there. Maybe she put them on her credit card, child. I'm not sure. Over on the other side, Mia is at the house with her family, and she said Joshua's dad, which is her oldest, and G, they get along pretty well, so they co-parent great, right? She's blessed in that regard, and honey, I am envious of you. When I tell you I'm envious. So she goes into the room to talk about her mom, right? And this is when things get serious. So her and her mom, they have a tumultuous relationship. She said her mom and her dad had a drug issue and she ended up in foster care. And she would hear that her mom was going into rehab and it was hard for her to get in contact with her. So for like 6 years, she would write her. She would never hear back. And I was just thinking, man, that is so sad to hear, because let me tell you something. I don't know where I would be without my mama, honey. I just don't know. It is very hard not having any parent, mom or dad. Like, that is the worst feeling. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. She said, at 6, I would lay on the floor and I would just cry. And she never showed up. She said, that's when I realized I didn't have a mom. She said, now I'm trying to have a relationship, but all I can remember is just her giving me up. You know what? Her and Ashley have a lot in common, because, Ashley said that her mom left her when she was like in kindergarten and she never came back for her. It was like a long time and she was choosing men over Ashley. And then, we saw that heart-wrenching scene where Ashley went to go and try to make a relationship with her dad, but he basically shut the door on her face. So, honey, they have a lot in common and they need to get to know each other. And I'm glad that she was able to pull herself out of the ashes and accomplish so much. And you know what? I thought about becoming a foster parent, but so many people talked me out of it. They're like, you don't know the problems a foster kid has, and they could be mentally unstable. They could be bad. But just listening to her say that, foster kids need a loving, stable environment as well. So if anybody has ever had any experience with foster kids, please comment down below, in all seriousness, because I would like to know your experience. Because I know a lot of people always tell me, I wouldn't adopt kids or I wouldn't foster a child because you just never know where you're getting. This is true, but at the same time, these are kids that are not blessed enough to have a family unit. So if you can provide that, why keep them in the system? So I'm just, that's just my thought process. Mia and her mom are going to have to do some counseling, because I'm very sure that she resents her. In the next scene, Karen goes over to visit Candace, and Karen says she really regrets missing out on all the moments between her and Candace, right? So they go and sit at the table. Chris's daughter, Naya, she does a little Wendy sliver down the stairs, but quickly decides against it. I'm like, these kids be running from Karen. Baby, first Dean and now Naya. Honey, I don't know what it is, but when a child sees Karen, honey, they exit stage left. So Karen said, Candace seems at peace, right? So Candace said, I want to move forward, but we need to see what that's going to look like. So Karen said she understands she was hurt for her being neutral, right? And so then she said, I don't regret my decision, though. Karen said she was hurt as well. And I'm like, okay, Karen, don't take it too far now, honey. I understand that the people were getting on you for being neutral, but at the same time, let's just keep it about what it's about, okay? She said she felt hurt as well because she felt like she was being iced out for having Candace's back, right? Karen said, I can't change the past. She said, but you said you wouldn't do anything differently. She said, not at that time, I wouldn't. So then Candace grabs the infamous folded napkin. And we have our first napkin fold of the season. Child, if we don't get somebody Kleenex or somebody to sponsor Candace, you're missing a whole bag. Honey, and if you get this idea from me, please don't hesitate to shout me out. Honey, get these people to sponsor you with all these Kleenexes that you use and fold into the triangulars of it all, honey. What is happening? Listen, this is what I have to say about this, okay? And I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I ain't changing it. Okay, listen. Karen was both of their friends. It was easy for the Green Eye Bandits to be on Team No More Monique, okay, because they didn't like Monique to begin with. Wendy was brought to the group by Candace, so of course she was on her side. Ashley, she was in the restroom, okay, and she was pregnant, so she like, please help us, leave me out of it. Karen cared about the both of them, to be quite honest, and it was like a tough spot to be in. And I respect Karen for remaining steadfast in her truth, honey. She stood 10 toes down. I'm glad she didn't just flip-flop because Monique is not present, okay? Because I would have lost respect for her had she done that. Candy Girl said it's going to take a while because she doesn't fully trust Karen. So Candace basically is saying, you didn't change your story, you didn't take my side, so we'll just be cordial. It's time for Ashley's pamper party. Honey, not all this open food during COVID. I'm like, what is happening? Candace shows up dressed for the gym. She got there first and told Gizelle from hell that Karen said she was not taking it back. And so there's going to be a high and by type of thing. So Gizelle was like, it's really effed up. Oh, shut up, Gizelle. Wendy and the twins show up. Then Robin and Ashley. Ashley looks like she's about to pop. And then a scholar shows up. Honey, she is fabulous to me. I don't know what it is about her. I don't know if it's her simple beauty. I don't know if it's her aura. I don't know what it is. But when she stepped on the scene, I was like, nah, Skylar, I like her, honey. What a beautiful addition. About time you did something, Robin, honey, because you ain't did nothing in 5 seasons, okay? She's beautiful and has a beautiful personality. Now, that's my opinion, okay? Y'all may beg to differ. She came in bearing gifts, and she's like, I brought you some champagne because this is the first thing I wanted when I had my baby. So then Ashley goes, well, I don't really drink champagne. Well, Ashley, honey, I guess she should have brought you a 6-pack of Corona because we know you'll throw them back. Karen walks in and right on by Gizelle. Child, Gizelle sitting quiet today. Don't want nothing else coming out about Sing Sing. Child, Karen just getting these reeds out of the air. Child. So Wendy over there feeling herself, literally filling herself up as the ladies mingle, and then Mia shows up. Child, what she do that for? When Mia showed up, Wendy's jealous behind started rolling her eyes, looking her up and down. I'm like, Wendy, honey, I think the jeans are from Fashion Nova, in case you were wondering. Honey, she was staring a hole in Mia. Do y'all hear me? So then she said she's open to get to know Mia, but she can't be a flip-flopper. Honey, I can't tell. Child, you have literally given this woman the blues since you've met her. So they played this guess the belly game, and I liked it, but I wanted them to take the hands out because it was too easy for you to guess based on the person's hands. So anyway, they showed Giselle's picture, and she looked pretty pregnant, but she also looked like she had just got through catching old cheating Jamal. I was like, Jazelle looked disgusted in this picture. Pretty, but disgusted. So then Ashley and Ascala go to get their treatments, honey, and Mia and Karen start talking. Mia's like, well, Wendy's here, so let's just talk about it. She said, I was putting my hand in her face. So Candace said, well, that can be threatening. We know, Candace, honey, we just glad you caught up. So Wendy said, don't ever try me like that again. Wendy, you're so funny, honey. What you gonna do, boo? In my Sheree Whitfield voice. Girl, anywho. So Mia said, I talk with my hands. If you don't like it, you can sit over there. Then Wendy said, we were in Karen's home, but today I am Zinwin, and I have time. Tick-tock, Mia. Not tick-tock, Mia. Sure. TikTok Mia, not to be confused with Snapchat or Instagram. Wendy, shut up, child. Your name and your attitude don't match. Girl, you and these rehearsed reads that you practiced on the way over here, honey. That lady that did Phaedra reads, she wasn't available. Child, I am done. Tick-tock on the clock. Yep, the party don't stop tonight. I'ma fight till we see the sunlight. Shout out to Kesha. Child, I'm not about to play with Wendy. You're coming in hot for no reason, Wendy. Okay, this girl has had you bothered since she sat down. I'm not understanding what it is. It's got, but at first I was like, Wendy can't be intimidated by Mia. For what? Not with her 4 degrees and all, but it's giving very much intimidation and insecurity. Honey, it's ridiculous. She's like, you're dismissed. Child, I would have eaten Wendy alive. Do y'all hear me? I would have eaten her alive. Mia said, clearly she's unhappy at home. She said, no, you're unhappy at home. That's why you need your clit fixed. And again, the reads are not reading, honey. The reads are not giving what's supposed to be gave, honey. It's not making any sense. So Mia's like, I don't have time for small minds. Wendy is like, I said you're dismissed. I said good day. Honey, she ready for Mia to move the hell on, okay? So Jazelle said, I don't mind you going hard in the paint, but you got to let other people talk. Jazelle, who taught you hard in the paint? Girl, goodbye. So Wendy said, she said I was small-minded. Jazelle said, well, I couldn't hear her because you were talking. So Wendy said, I feel like you didn't want to hear her. Wendy said, I was defending Jazelle, but Robin and Jazelle aren't showing any loyalty to me. Child, Robin only loyal to Batman and Batman only loyal to Robin. Girl, are you new? So Karen is like, this is supposed to be, a party, but it's thrown by Satan. And I'm just happy it's real massages. I can't stand these ladies. I cannot. So then Ashley comes out. Jazelle is like, Ashley, the block is hot. The block is hot. The block is hot. Hot, hot, hot. I'm like, child. So Ashley's like, why? She said, we're trying to get to the bottom of what Mia said and why she's being two-faced, but Wendy was yelling. So Ashley said, you mean Zinwin? Honey, y'all, please stop calling her by that dumb name. Please stop calling her. I cannot listen to that all season. I just can't. In the other room, Candace is telling Wendy, don't let Mia push your buttons. She's like, I'm not giving her anything. Honey, you're giving her everything. You're giving it all to her. You're giving it all of you, okay? You literally left it all out on the floor. just a few minutes ago. Girl, what you talking about? You just went off. Yeah, definitely intimidated by Mia, honey. I'm not sure why, but she is. Robin, Gizelle, and Ashley are talking about how they want to get to know Mia, but they want to get to know her outside of the presence of Karen, right? So the other ladies are back. It's so many people moving around. I'm like, oh my God, child, all of y'all just sit in one place. So Karen said, I can't wait to have Fireball with you, Ashley. So then out of nowhere, a scholar said, I heard you drink a lot. Karen said, I think to call someone an alcoholic is reckless. Then they flash back to her calling Jazelle a drunk. Let me tell you something. One thing about Potomac producers, they don't discriminate on the flashbacks, honey. They gonna flash back on some foolery if they don't do nothing else. So Karen is like, I will have a party and I'll call them. And Ashley is like, I beg to differ because it seems like it's a party of one. Honey, y'all keep calling this lady an alcoholic. I haven't seen it, but honey, maybe it's so, child. Allegedly. She's like, you can come to my party anytime. We just had a love party. So Ashley said, speaking of, we did have a party and I got to know Mia and G a little bit better and they met in an interesting place. And Mia is like, yeah, they called him and they said, hey, this girl is making some great drinks. You need to come and check her out. And then shortly after that, I became a stripper when I met him. So why would they tell him to come for a drink if you're a stripper? Child, Mia, we're going to have to get rid of that little lying problem, honey. You cute and you're bringing something to the table and the judge of it all, but you be lying a little bit too. So Karen said, I thought you were going to say you took to the pole. She said, oh, well, honey, I don't do a pole. I don't strip. Okay, girl, so you were one of the girls on the floor, honey, the ones that just twerk and just move a little around a little bit. Okay, I understand. You just said you were a stripper. Okay, so either you were on the pole or you were on the floor. So she said, no, it's a gentleman's lounge. No poles because they didn't want that stigma. And the girls wear long gowns. Girl, okay, child. Goodbye. Girl gone. She's like, they paid me for my company. Jazelle said, like an escort. She said, yeah. Child, Mia just be answering questions so quickly. Loud and wrong. Mia, process what's being asked of you before you just start spewing out answers, honey. You don't even realize that Jazelle just shaded you by calling you and implying that you were an escort. Oh, child, honey, we're going to have to give Mia a little work. So then they said escorts have sex for money. She's like, oh, I don't know anything about that. But you just, okay, I don't have time. Ashley said, well, I've been to strip clubs before with gowns and not ball gowns. There's some TNA definitely showing. Listen to me. It's either a nightgown or a ball gown. And there's no other types of gowns. These long sundresses that they're wearing in the strip club with their whatnot showing, that's definitely not a gown. Okay, we're going to have to Google the word gown. These are stripper clothes. They aren't gowns. Okay, shout out to all my strippers. Then Karen said, girl, ain't no shame in it. I was thinking about getting the pole myself. So Mia can show me. Karen, if you fall off that pole and break a hip, you will never be the same. Child, please stay off that pole. I know you are trying to convince the world that you and Ray still get it popping, but please do not get on that pole. Child, and this is my thing, honey. You better own it like Nene Leakes did. Then Jazelle scurried on out of there because she couldn't stomach Karen another second. Girl, how you gonna lead a party that you hosted? And did you pay? Or was this an open type of thing? Every heifer for themselves. You gotta watch Jazelle. A scholar said, before we leave, can we pray for Ashley to have a safe and healthy delivery? Honey, and I loved it. Do y'all hear me? Now, that's the way to end an episode. Y'all keep her, honey. Keep her and get rid of Robin because we know these heifers ain't never played before. And child, I cannot wait for next week's episode because it is about to get better and better. Once again, the ladies did not disappoint. And once again, they didn't need a bolo to do it. Please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.